interesting moment came out of CNN where Jake Tapper grilled a Republican representative, Mike Johnson, on this narrative that's been floating around on the right and perpetuated a lot, that Biden has hired 87,000 IRS agents, and some people say they're armed to go after you. One person said to go after MAGA, and how dishonest of a narrative this is. And we'll look at the specifics of that in a second, but first, here's this moment from CNN.
Ideas that will yield transparency and accountability, and I think everybody's for that.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, why not just be honest about what the bill would actually do?
I am honest.
You said 87,000 IRS agents. That's not what it is.
Jake, that is exactly what it is. That is the Treasury's own published report in 2021 that they said, as you noted, over a 10-year period, they wanted to add 86.
Just a quick thing, and we'll let's continue. I love whenever I'm sitting here watching a clip. Of course, I've watched it, knowing that right after it, I'm going to provide all the reasons that he's wrong, and soaking in how confident he sounds, saying it absolutely is. It's
6,800 and something
employees,
agents.
And not agents, employees.
Oh, Jake, you know what all those positions are going to be? Have you seen that analysis?
So you're saying every one of the 86,000 plus is going to be an IRS agent? I'm
not saying every one of them, but I'm saying a large percentage of those will be IRS employees who are deemed as agents to go after and do audits. That's a large and a very important function of the IRS, and it's what they do. And that's not hyperbole. That's what's on paper.
Do you think that there is a problem in this country of wealthy individuals and companies not paying their fair share in taxes?
That has been a problem, of course, but
But Jake, I don't want to solve it.
We're not preventing that. The IRS has an important job to go after tax cheats.
Okay, so you've probably heard this all over the place. And what's the story that's trying to be told there? 87,000 IRS agents, when, as Tapper noted, they're not agents. Some of them will be, but some of them just other forms of employees, are being sent out to go after you, average, hardworking American. Well, as Time writes here, there's only one problem. It's not true. The action that's being taken is a real action that's occurring. They're not just pulling it out of thin air, but the details that they're twisting are pretty wild here. The Inflation Reduction Act, a landmark climate, healthcare, and tax package that passed the Senate on Sunday and is expected to head to Biden's desk after the House approves it on Friday, includes roughly $78 billion for the IRS to be phased in over 10 years. A Treasury Department report from May 2021 estimated that such an investment would enable the agency to hire roughly 87,000 employees by 2023, but most of those hires would not be internal revenue agents and wouldn't be new positions. So key details there, different. 87,000 employees, largely filling positions that already exist over the next 10 years as people leave those positions, okay, and enhancing certain departments and providing more resources so that they can go after the wealthy who aren't paying their taxes. That is a great action. It continues. According to a Treasury Department official, the funds would cover a wide range of positions, including IT technicians and taxpayer services, support staff, as well as experienced auditors who would be largely tasked with cracking down on corporate and high-income tax evaders. Why anyone would disagree with that action except for the corporate and high-income tax evaders, I don't know, but right now, or I do know, but it's wild that they would. And that's what we saw there in that clip. And you can tell he even knew a little bit his dishonesty because he got flustered when Tapper pressed him on the agents versus employees detail, when the whole narrative is just so wrong. Because as you pretend to stand for, we should get taxes from those who aren't paying at the very top of our economic society. Well, that's what this is doing. So why are you against it then? Another fascinating part of this action that is really good is it would actually make back more money for the government than the funding cost, if that makes sense. So because what the IRS is doing is, through getting more resources, funding, employees, etc., they're able to now go and audit those who it takes a lot of resources to investigate, audit, and get the proper outstanding taxes from the wealthy. And so the IRS would be making back for the government more money than it even costs to fund these extra enhancements, which is wonderful. And as is noted by the Congressional Budget Office, if Republicans repealed this law, it would save up front $71 billion, but then cost the government $185 billion in uncollected tax revenue for a net loss of $114 billion over a decade. So what they're advocating for, it's not protect the average American, as he tried to indicate there, from the horrible IRS agents, the 87,000 of them. It's that representative wants to stand in the way of a situation that would not only get taxes that are deserved to be had by the government from wealthy individuals who are tax evading and corporations, because the IRS will be more better funded, but it also is making more money than it even costs to fund, which is a rare occurrence in these types of situations, and why they're making this their issue is beyond me.